And it is time for episode 103 here in the challenge series. And our first stop will be Laguna Seca for what will be the first qualifying race for episode 104, the Sunday Cup, which is really ironic naming convention considering it doesn't have a race on Sunday. It's literally a 6-race championship that races on every day except for Sunday. Go figure. Anyway, but yeah, same rules as always. Just, obligatory explanation. 5 races in this episode, and the top 4 from each will qualify for the championship the following week. And also, the position you finish in the race you qualified in will determine your starting position for the first race of the championship. So the person who wins this race will start on pole position for the first round of the Sunday Cup. And without further ado, let's head to the track and find out who exactly that's going to be. We are green from Laguna Seca, and the 600 category is what will be contesting the Sunday Cup. Probably not the surprise of many people. I mean, it's the slowest category. Of course, it's going to be the Sunday Cup that it runs. There are a couple of new vehicles on the grid for this race. People who are keen to get in on the first championship of the season. And we're on board with me, who's in a not-so-new S14. But, there are definitely new cars on the grid. I just have to find them. Basically Planetoon Racing were like the big ones trying to get their way into this championship. Melissa Neptune, representing a 1996 S14. Her teammate, Christina Kompa, is in a Datsun 240Z. And we scroll some ways up the grid. And this is an interesting one, I'm not gonna lie. Kate Iffy, who's currently trying to defend on the inside of me, or from me, but it doesn't work. I had way more momentum down the exit of the corkscrew. This is apparently a car manufactured in her home nation of Planetoon, which is not on Earth. None of the characters from that whole group are from our world, so to speak. Kind of like the Toho cast is. I'm just gonna pause. This is the Planetoon SCS-3, which she described to me as some weird retro-modern styled car. Which just kind of looks like the most 1991 car I've ever seen in my life. But its performance is pretty comparable to, the other cars that are brought by her teammates today. Like Neptune and Kompa and, spoiler alert, Nepgear. So it obviously still fits in the same category, it just looks kinda uncanny. And then as mentioned, here is Nepgear in an older model of S14. So not the model that I have, which that's what Neptune has. This would be, I think, the model that Setsuko Kuro would have in the category above this one. If I can make this pass stick on Sayori, that'll put me into the top 4, which is theoretically all I would need to make it to the championship. And I will do so. But obviously I want more because I'd rather not start in 16th place. Yo is not far away, under focus. And then Thrasher is just filling Liza Kaiser's rear view and she's feeling the pressure a bit. And there was no contact there, but she outbroke herself trying to stay ahead of the truck, and nearly Porsched herself in the process. Yeah, that's quite something to see behind you right there, let me say. It's just that massive vehicle appears. I outdragged Yo again on the exit of the corkscrew and got her in the following right-hander. Since we're kind of alliance mates, she didn't really put too much of her thoughts off, especially since she figured if she did do that, she'd just be losing herself time to the cars behind, and that's the thing that she definitely doesn't want to do, because that would risk her finishing in the top 4 altogether. I got a little eager on the throttle. I wanted to be the one that shows up Thrasher at his own track. It seems like Thrasher has certainly the, ironically not enough power. Not enough top end, rather. But somehow the truck has enough cornering grip and low range acceleration to hang with the 901. Yeah, the truck has good turning. Go figure, right? But still is unable. Even as Liza completely misses the corkscrew, he's unable to capitalize on that fact. We are a little ways through the final lap already. And, I have officially caught the 2 lead cars. Obviously, passing is a separate action, especially the track within a second, which is not the widest track in the world. There have been a lot of surprise results scored here by drivers who just managed to make their vehicle wider and just take up the racetrack. The lack of long straightaways also helps in that regard. Nobody can use a horsepower advantage to just make up places mindlessly. I thought about it here, but I just decided not to. Liza once again forces himself on the brakes, but Thrasher still doesn't decide to capitalize. He himself probably was like, you know, I'd rather not risk the truck. Although he about risks me, nearly pushing me off the track, probably a bit of weight-induced understeer, goodness knows, driving a lumber wagon like that. And I'll try the outside of Liza just for extra credit. It seemed hopeless, but I used a bit of extra racetrack and she got a conservative exit. We head up to the finish line and we actually tied. Yeah, tie. So that was certainly something. So it will be Liza on pole, me in second by a matter of less than 1,000th of a second. Thrasher right behind us for third, and Yo will head up to the start-finish line to barely get that last spot. And, yeah. If there were another lap, I don't think Yo would be the one finishing fourth. My guess is probably Noir. I think she might have outdragged both her and Sayori. But only 4 laps, even though it probably could have been 5. The laps here weren't that long, but I digress. And we move on to the second qualifying round, with Liza, myself, Thrasher, and Yo making their way to the Sunday Cup. Round 2 takes us across the United States to Watkins Glen, where the short layout will play a race of roughly equal length, for the second qualifying round here in episode 103. Early in the morning, I believe it is, as the race gets started. I wouldn't know either. The problem with me and Thrasher making it in the first race was that we weren't allowed to show up to other races to participate. So, with Nitori not having a 600 class car, nor Tyler, nor Iwasaki, there were no more admins left to enter the races. And so we just kind of had to hope that people behaved themselves. That said, luckily, this is kind of one of the first times in a really long time the Challenge Series hasn't really had some ongoing, earth-shattering rivalry that's, like, making a bunch of crashes happen. At the moment, everybody's just kind of going about their business. So let's hope that it stays that way as we get into the second race of the week. And then here we look at the last debuting car of the week, spoiler alert. With all of the turbo lag in the world, good old Maki, with a vehicle I never would have expected. A, I wouldn't have expected Maki to drive. B, I certainly wouldn't have expected that it could actually reach 600 performance points and make it into the championship. But lo and behold, here's Maki entering in an Auto Bianchi A112. Basically the Italian Mini Cooper Fiat 500 hybrid. And, man, it is not much on the straightaway. But what is a little more on the straightaway is Logan Poole, the onboard car for this race, in his first-gen Corvette. Goodness knows he's more than familiar with Watkins Glen, so even though he started last, he's already up to 13. And trying to sneak his way around Dexter Rollins and Nico Yazawa. He got an immense run from that previous turn, not second to last turn. Nearly has a disaster into the penultimate turn, but manages to barely avoid making contact with Casillas ahead. He will follow the Firebird ahead of the S14 of Neptune, and then seek to outdrag the Pontiac into one. That is a success. Nearly smacks into the back of Noir. Technically 3 wide. Logan clips that curve and he has to catch it a little bit. It wants to get away on him. Really wants to get away on him. I'd probably stop running over those curves. But he manages to not only hang on to the car, but also pass Kotori on the back straightaway. I've never seen this camera before. What? And right now, the top 3 are, well, the top 2 are certainly proving that the field should have bought a Corvette. For that matter, at least bought General Mills, as my dad's running third in a Firebird. Compa is the leading non-GM car, and she's currently sitting fourth, the last of the positions that get you into the Cup. She's gonna try and pass my dad into the second to last turn. My God, corner numbers. Meanwhile, Logan will pass Kyle Hansen at that same turn, but Compa will not succeed in her overtake. And will instead get absolutely dusted by Logan, it looks like. She basically just gets out of his way. Actually, she just decided to get the slipstream off of my dad. But that still wasn't enough. Logan shoots on the outside and kind of keeps it. No, he doesn't. He does not keep it on the normal racing limits. But I suppose in the interest of affording space to Compa, making sure he doesn't spin out, I suppose that's fair enough. Now, it is definitely an example of why we should have bought a Corvette. Almost 3 wide as we head up to the bus stop. My dad thought about going down the inside of Poole, but thought better of that, rather to save her fourth than risk it to third when there are 2 very fast cars behind him. I really did not expect... Oh! Logan kept that straight, I don't know how. all the way out. I don't know what was more impressive, that he kept that saved, or that he kept it from hitting Barbara's own C1 Corvette. And this is really weird to see, two first-gen Corvettes in the same place. And they're both trying to pass a third-gen Corvette. And there's another, yeah, General Motors is absolutely ecstatic this morning, as they're all in the top 4. I'm surprised Kyle Hansen. I'm impressed by what he's doing here. He's running 6th, and this is kind of his first, like, major performance, honestly. He hasn't really wowed me. And around the outside goes Logan Poole into the lead over Hoshizora. And this time his Corvette doesn't put up any arguments up yet. So now it's just about a lap and 2/3 to go for the first-gen Corvette. The other first-gen looks for a move on Ring, but runs out of momentum and just decides better of that. Compa still nipping at the heels of my dad's Firebird. A 240Z has more horsepower than I imagined it would. And Slipstream also probably helped in that matter. And admittedly, with Logan running away at the front and Barber not having the top end speed to get around Ring, I feel like the battle for 4th is probably where to look at this moment. Now, that was an ugly final turn for my dad. Compa is right there. They're going to draw even at the braking zone, but my dad will have the better line. Meanwhile, Logan is using every inch of racetrack. I don't think that was in the interest of anything other than laziness right there. Compa's still trying to get alongside the Pontiac. It's still not working. I don't know that it ever will work. And now Compa is being overtaken by the BRZ of Hansen, possibly. Kyle's getting a tiny bit of slipstream from the Firebird. But this is all formality, because 5th place doesn't matter. If it's not 4th, you're not qualifying. You're just getting a couple extra $100 and the prize first for the individual race. But Kyle Hansen, I guess, is very intent on getting that. And so he shall. He could maybe make a run at my dad, but with 2 corners to go, odds are not high. That Subaru has serious straight line speed for what it is. Not enough, though. And out of the last turn, Logan Poole will run the field here at Watkins Glen, locking himself into the Sunday Cup next week. He'll be joined by 3 other General Motors vehicles in the forms of Rin Hoshizora, Barbara Page, and my dad, Steve Lummel. Hansen missed by not much, and Compa also missed by not much. I figured John would have done better here, since this is the Nitro Knights and Urban Estates home circuit. And Barbara certainly capitalized on that fact, but it seems as though, well, Jean didn't. Also, how did Dexter get to 8th? What in the... How did Dexter get to 8th? What the fuck? It is the very early morning here at Tokyo Expressway for the 3rd race of this episode. And I mean early morning, I mean like 4:30 a.m. or something like that, I think it was. I don't know. I didn't really get many commentary notes since Itri herself wasn't here. And actually what was here was just left by Iwasaki, who was spectating the race. Probably after a long night of doing his own form of racing here, if I must be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where Thrasher was, too. I don't dare do that unless I'm prepared well ahead of time. But, anyway. Yeah. Tokyo's Gemini layout, as we've come to call it. Even though Gemini himself cannot participate since he only has one car, and it's 2 categories above this. It's the layout that he usually can be found on, Wandering. So, and it's I believe he won the first race here, and the second. So, you kind of tend to etch that in history. But we shall see who will write themselves into their own history as we get into round 3. We are green in Tokyo, and the amount of France in the front of the grid, even the one that starts 4th is like honorarily French, with AJ. Noir and Neptune on the front row. That is a crash waiting to happen, or at least chaos, but it doesn't seem like much. Neptune's little sister is actually going to get the advantage out of T1. And your friend Compa's right there too. What in the Planetoon's going on here? Like, and as if that wasn't enough, we're on board with Kate Iffy and her fake, I don't even know, like, S13 Supra Chaser. Thrasher said it looks a little bit like a Fox body somehow, which I don't really see. Amalgamation racing car here. And she's already up into the top 10, halfway through lap 1. It is an all Neptunia top 4 at the moment. AJ is in 5th, just trying to stay where he is. And if he is making the pace that keeps making the pace she is so far, she'll be joining those 4, making it a top 5 walkout instead within due time. I believe everybody from Neptunia is actually in this race that has a car in this category. Vert is somewhere in the back. 19th, so not great, but she's here. Seventh, Iffy. Looking for 6th on Joseph Miller. Almost squeezing her into the inside wall, but still into 6th. And 1 pass away, basically, from joining her buddies. And, a bit of understeer, and also slight contact with the MX-5, but makes it to 5th place, and right onto the back of her buddy Compo. I wouldn't be surprised if these two were in a relationship. They talk to each other that often. Outdrags the 240Z, and outdrags the S14. Alright, yeah, okay, we got it. The Planetoon imports got horsepower. And a friendly cornering grip, too. And Compa and Neptune went too wide through there, as do Taniguchi and Stillwell further back. Remember, now Compa and Neptune are going to be fighting for that final spot in the championship. So, I don't know, I don't think they'll be holding anything back. But I also don't think Neptune really has a choice, because it seems like her S14 is lacking critical horsepower. Kate Iffy already up to 2nd over Nepgear. Must have just outbroken her into the dockyard section. And now looking for the lead on Noir in the Camaro. The only, like, not Nissan that started up here. I can't really verify the fuck the SCS3 is, so I'll just kind of pretend it's nothing. And to the lead goes the Clusterfuck Mobile, ahead of Noir on the straightaway, which is kind of the weird place to pass the car with, like, the Camaro, with what I would imagine is more horsepower than the other cars around it. That's what I would have thought, at least. Taniguchi is also making his way through the field pretty quickly. Up to 7th. He started near the back himself. I believe he started outside of the top 12. And he's making up plenty of time as he goes along. Since getting overtaken, Noir has lost plenty of time to Iffy up ahead, and is in fact kind of fallen off pace entirely, now under threat from Nepgear and Compa behind her. Her Chimera's horsepower can get her away for a little while, but I don't know if that's going to hold out forever, as Compa sticks her Datsun down the inside, clearing Nepgear for third. But nowhere near Noir after having to make that move. Oh, well, wait, braking will do it. But she doesn't go down the inside, she just brakes later, for indiscernible reasons. Taniguchi got ahead of Neptune, heading through the, exiting the dock section. And his next target will be her sister Nepgear, not far ahead. And by extension also the rest of the top four that isn't Iffy, who's pretty well clear of all of this madness. Some, I think, 2 seconds up the road. Nepgear is getting back ahead of Compa meanwhile, out-braking her into that hairpin, but Datsun just has a lot of acceleration. I really didn't think it would have that kind of power to drive off corners, but not to keep Nepgear out of third place. And now under threat from the approaching 2000 GT. He's there now. If I thought the Datsun had plenty of pickup off of corner exits, the 2000 GT's got even more than that. Oh, Nepgear covers that off. Taniguchi's forced to wait. He will not wait. He's down the inside. And clears with ease into fourth, knocking Nepgear out of a qualifying position. As we begin the final lap of the race, Nepgear tries something desperate. Does she even have a chance to? Probably not, as Akira goes too wide with Compa, who ends up out-braking Noir in her efforts to stay ahead. How did that happen? She got it done. Fight or flight, and man, Compa kind of chose both. She fought back by flying away, actually getting into the back of Noir in the process too. Don't know if she'll be the happiest about that one, but at the same time, it's not going to affect your pace too much since we're kind of winding down the turns here from Tokyo Expressway. The whole field is in a giant train at this point. Like, this is literally expressway traffic. Like, what the f*** is this? Ukai is like the first car not really attached, and then we've got like a 4-car group running in the back here, and then these 2 cars that got damaged in the race early on. The battle for the top 4 continues as Noir goes back down the inside of Compa. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, with how vindictive that braking application was, that was like contactless revenge. Like, yeah, no, sorry, girl, you ain't getting the spot from me that way. Try again next week. I'm sure she will, if she stays in the top 4, which she should. Even if Taniguchi passes her, which she's gonna try and sneak down the inside of Noir again, but that won't work. Here comes the Toyota, and that's gonna be stuck the long way around. He doesn't care. Excellent move from Akira to increase his starting grid spot. Did Compa get back at him though? No. Kate Iffy will take the win in her import. Noir second, Taniguchi third, Compa fourth. And the 2 main drivers of Planetoon Racing miss, while the 2 other drivers, Iffy and Compa, make it in. Interesting. Interesting. That was quite a close race. Akira with the Hero's Drive. Where did he start exactly? He started 14th. I mean, we can talk all day about Iffy getting from 20th to 1st. I mean, yeah. But Akira had his own strong run. He got from 14th to exactly where he had to get, top 4, and then some, admittedly. So, yeah, big moment for him at his home circuit to get here. Could have gotten second too if the start line was somewhere else, like at the end of or at the exit of the next turn. Probably not. Probably for the best it's not there though. Let me tell you. That road's not wide enough to have the start-finish line on it. so we are here ahead of the fourth race at Kyoto Park's Miyabi circuit. So the one that's like really short and only has a grand total of like 5, 6 turns. Yes. A bit of an interesting development took place right like minutes before the race started and during the warm-up session. Nepgear's S14, which clearly she bought used, had some engine problems. Nothing terminal, but also something that couldn't be fixed in 4 minutes. So the weird thing that we've had to do, and this was decided on site by Thrasher and myself, is that, well, Compa wanted to take her spot on the grid, but since she's already qualified in at the previous race, she can't do another race. So instead, it's Nepgear driving Compa's car. Under the impression that, you know, assuming that Nepgear gets her S14 fixed in time for Monday, you know, she will be taking whatever position she gets if she makes it. However, the leaderboard staff, they kind of fucked it a little bit. They just assumed, oh, it's Christina Compa's car. Obviously, that must be who's driving it, right? They didn't really notice the last-minute switcheroo that put Nepgear in the car. So, although it says Compa on the leaderboards, rest assured, that is Nepgear driving. And Nepgear is trying to qualify in somebody else's machine, but they are teammates. So, if he just kind of denied that factor of it, why even have a team, right? And with that, we are actually green. I'm going to go back to our POV driver, Natsuki Narashi's 8.6. Not the red one, the white one. Not that hunk of junk. The one that actually looks like a car and not a Minecraft block. Given a racing engine. Can't even hold a line in the thing either. How did that guy get to 8th at the Glen? I don't understand. Natsuki will get her on his outside. Up to 16, 15, 14. And up 13. Almost 12. 12, okay. Well, this has been a heck of a lap from Narashi to get through almost half the field in one lap. We're on the outside of the Firebird, mayhaps. Oh, yeah. Bounce. Pulls alongside the M3, into 9th, and there's the third. Okay, yeah, more than half the field in a singular lap. Nepgear's already up into 3rd, in a car that's not even her own. Neptune is her sister in 5th. Neptune is just, yeah, no, okay, yep, no shit. Dick's overtaking his fellow MX-5, AJ, who's currently falling like a rock down the running order, now under threat from Umi and from Natsuki. Umi gets ahead of the MX-5, who tries to brake later on the outside, but can't do anything there. Meanwhile, Nico is right on Siegfried Grant's tail, trying to take the lead away early on. She'll tuck in behind the Sylvia, though. Natsuki takes a very different line through this corner compared to everybody else. She never really completely hits that apex, but it doesn't seem to matter. She gets a huge run on Sonoda, and into 6th she'll go. Almost off the track she'll go as well, but she will instead use that to try and outbrake Neptune. No success. Neptune has started every race in this championship, or every race this week thus far, and it looks like she's set to still not make the field for the Sunday Cup, the way that things are transpiring right now. Her sister, in a car that's not even her own, has a higher chance of doing that at the moment, as she's still running 3rd, although some ways removed from the 2 leaders who are literally bumper to bumper. Nico, if you were any closer, you could take that rear wing off. Hit him hard enough, you just might. Natsuki down the inside of the Jazz Cup Miata into 5th place. And that puts her in one of the qualifying spots alongside her teammate Brandt, who's still under threat from at 86. I didn't really think that would change necessarily, don't get me wrong. And Nepgear's still sort of playing Datsun in the middle. And again, considering the fact that Compa passed Nepgear in this 240Z, maybe she's being carried. Maybe the 240Z is just that good. Not good enough to keep Natsuki away though. Down the inside goes the Trueno. And that's textbook right there. These two are still nose to tail. Natsuki will soon be joining them in a moment, I figure. Not here. Yeah, she's basically already doing that. She gets a good run out of the next turn. She'll probably be able to slingshot ahead of them both, heading through the S's and into the hairpin-ish turn. Not quite anything through the S's, almost off the track in fact. Round the outside attempt, big contact actually. That was not great on Natsuki's part, a little clumsy, but no damage to Nico's 8.6. Old versus new here, big bounce for both cars over those curbs. Okay, no damage to Nico's GR86, just some damage to Natsuki's own. Right on board as Nico finally, well, attempted a move, but the door closed before she could put her car there, so she thought better of that one. Shoots down the inside, almost gets down the inside of the S13 as well. Better exit goes to the Trueno, and Natsuki's to second place. And ahead of her teammate, Natsuki will seize the race lead with that maneuver. Does Brandt try to go back around the outside? He does try. And he gets a pretty long way around, but his momentum dies on the exit. And now he'll probably just try to hang on to second and keep the Black Stallion 1-2 alive if he can. Nepgear's still hanging on strong to fourth. Meanwhile, it's Scarborough versus O'Reilly with just over a lap of racing to go here from Kyoto. The laps come thick and fast here, and even though this is a 9-lap race, it's still going to be shy of 7 minutes. This could have easily been 10. Nico is still knocking on that S13's door. I don't know how she hasn't found a way past. I don't know how Brandt hasn't let her go yet. Or how he hasn't slipped, I should say. Oh, Nepgear's got company now. Oh my god, that's a train. Scarborough, O'Reilly, and Lily Rose all trying to get that final position from this race and get into the Sunday Cup. Jake looks at the inside. He has the better lane, and Nepgear is helpless out there. Natsuki's going to take the victory over Siegfried Brandt and Nico Yazawa, and it's going to be Jake stealing that transfer, getting himself 4th place. Compa ended up not even in 5th. O'Reilly got her at the last gasp, but he couldn't get himself into that championship along with his teammates. All of his teammates. There's even Thrasher's in there as we speak. So Jake with the clutch genes gets himself to 4th. Nepgear and her sister once again miss a 4th opportunity to get into the Sunday Cup. This has just got to be disheartening at this point. Both their teammates have gotten in. Noir got in on her only attempt. Or no, that's not true. Her second attempt. It's just... Nah, I mean, Nepgear almost, didn't even... Well, Nepgear almost didn't start this race. Compa was just here by happenstance, because Ippy's not here. Or was not here, I should say, at the time. Compa was just here because she was just kind of keeping an eye on Neptune, really. She's a little crazy. So, it's just unfortunate she didn't choose to come here in her 350Z and still kept her 240Z around, even though she's going to have to drive it in 6 consecutive races next week. But, here we are. Didn't matter. Nepgear for all of the technicalities and whatever else. She didn't qualify anyway for the Sunday Cup, so all of that is just kind of a moot point. Final round. Go. And the final round is going with all of the turbo lag possible from our POV driver. Maki Nishikino in her little Italian Mini Cooper finally gets off the start-finish line. Here from a high-speed ring reverse. And, well, I suppose if there's one advantage that car must have, it's gotta be its cornering grip, right? I mean, that thing weighs less than a ton. Absolutely gotta be the lightest car here, and that's not even a contest. So, it doesn't surprise me that she can rip turn 1 like that, and easily make up 3 places despite her car's incessant turbo lag. Now for contact with Altenberg, making his only attempt at qualifying for the championship. And with where he's starting, he's probably not going to have much of a shot at that either. Neptune and Nepgear return once more, this time for their final try at entering the Sunday Cup. And Nepgear's already out of the top 10, or top 10, what? Already out of the top 4. She gets ahead of Umi. But, well, even Neptune is about to lose 4th place to an S2000 with Alex Carson. So, here we are. Although Nick Ambrose is at his top speed, so everybody's gonna blur past that Tesla. Not the choice of car for this circuit, let me tell you what. And round the outside, what in the heck is that? Into the race lead goes the little Mini of Italy. Not actually a Mini, don't get it twisted. Oh, how ironic fate can be. They're still outside the top 4. Oh, you cannot make this shit up. Neptune's ahead of her sister, but Thomas O'Reilly's gonna pass them both. And even though Nepgear's looking for a pass on Kotori into the penultimate turn, that Roadster has all of the horsepower you could ever need. Plus, Kotori outbrakes her anyway. This has been an absolute travesty. Nepgear's moving down early just to try and keep Thomas away. It doesn't matter. Kotori blocks Thomas for everything that Alfa Romeo is worth. Nepgear does slide ahead of the Alfa Romeo, but that Ford Roadster is going to be unleashed in right now. 150, clear of the Alfa Romeo. Changing lanes, getting a quick slipstream off of Nepgear. And down the inside, Nepgear barely hangs on for the moment though. I'm surprised the old S14 had that kind of straight line power. But it is all for naught. Here comes Thomas. This time for real. Still not done yet. Come on. There we go. Get it over with. Down the inside again for the Roadster. And pushing Nepgear out just a little bit wide at the apex of the S's. Kind of compensating by giving her space to run the inside of the following S. But the job is done. And now unless they both eat that A110 up, like tear that thing to pieces, which Thomas does, right ahead of that Alpine. A110 not to be confused with the A112, they're completely different cars. Go figure. Oh, there's still life in her. Nepgear's trying to get around, but it's blocked. And now here comes Sotokov in a 300 SCL. That thing's got even more power than the Roadster. And guess what? This is high-speed ring, so power is all that really matters. The S14's not a slouch. 160, that's nothing to sneeze at down the straightaway. But Ivan, almost 170. Gets ahead of both the A110 and the Silvia in one go. But kind of moves the A110 wide. Doesn't matter. I'm trying not to, I don't try to be, I try, yeah. I try not to I try to not be biased in my commentary, but it just seems so cool that Nepgear got 5 different chances, and she's still not going to make the Sunday Cup. The amount of effort that they must have committed to build these cars, Nepgear and Neptune, and the rest of her teammates, Iffy and Compa, the amount of effort that they must have put in to build those cars, get the travel set up to go to all 5 racetracks this week, and still miss the fucking championship. Unless something crazy happens up here, but the top 4 are pretty spread out. Carson's got more than enough speed to keep everybody else away, except for Ivan. And Neptune's not even away from Lynette and Ulsan either. Cars diving into the pits in the background. I couldn't really make out who any of them were. That is Yukiko Takuchi and James Altenberg, 2 cars making their only attempt to make the championship here. If it wasn't over before, their hopes are gone now. And, you know, Kotori and Nico were clowning this thing. A little shopping cart that could. All the triple leg in the world couldn't stop Maki. Less than a ton and a high RPM turbocharger will grant Maki the victory here from High Speed Ring. Last turn, 5th gear. Yeah, there's no gear in that thing, by the way. Over the line, Maki will take the victory. Thomas O'Reilly will join his teammates Thrasher, Brandt, and Rashi in the championship, and Ivan will barely get Alice Carson at the line for 3rd, and Nepgear gets another 5th place. Her sister didn't do much. Her sister only got 11th, but God, that's got to be a financial that's got to be a financial headshot right there. Planetoon Racing builds 4 cars, arranges travel to get all 4 of them to potentially all 5 racetracks if necessary. They got lucky that Iffy and Compa qualified at Tokyo, or that would have been even more expensive. They had to fix the S14's engine. I don't know what went wrong with it, but they had to fix it in a handful of hours and then get it up the country line, up to the Hokkaido Mountains to reach High Speed Ring in like a handful of hours. And all of that, and it was still not enough. Fate is cruel to some people, even goddesses.